are all different ways to find money that people didn't know that existed, to then reuse that money in a much more efficient way.
Absolutely. And I love talking about this. So I'm excited to share. There's a framework that I've seen and that I built in the 20 years of just having access to incredibly successful people, and then obviously interviewing the best minds in business and investing on my show, Cashflow Ninja. And essentially the parts of the framework is, the first part is capital creation, cash creation. People make their money somehow, either in their business or in the capacity of a high earning employee, but they make their money somehow. That's the first part. Then the second part is, well, you have to put that money somewhere. So where do they put it? Capital positioning is what I call it, and cash capture. Where do you put the money after you've made it? And then the next part is then deploying that money into cash flow assets or growth assets. And then the final part is protecting it all through proper tax strategy, asset protection, and estate planning. Now, if you want to look at where to find money, I look at capital positioning. And you look at, well, people make it, where do they put it so that we can access it to use it and to use it for our investments? And for your listeners that are real estate investors, this will give you some ideas of potentially where you have money that you don't even know of that you can use to invest. And if you're raising capital for projects, you can have this this conversation with investors. Just share with them different ideas. So where do people put money? The first place that, and this is where most people are aware of, is 401ks and IRAs, right? That's where they have. Most Americans and most people around the world have either money in their house or in their 401k and the IRA, and that's essentially the bulk of it. So you can, of course, self-direct your 401k, self-direct your IRA to invest in alternative assets. And of course, if you have a house, you can tap into the equity of your house. And this is where it gets fun, because there's a concept called collateralization. Collateralization is essentially what you do with that HELOC strategy. And most real estate investors know about this. So they know that they can cash out, refi a house or a property, or they can use a HELOC, let's just say, for an example, in a primary residence, tap into the equity without selling that house. Now, how did they do that? They placed the equity of the home as collateral to the bank for a line of credit. And now you can take that line of credit and you can buy another property. So you essentially have a property and you use that property to buy another property without selling that property. It's a very, very powerful concept because this brings up, where do you find money? So if you're a business owner, you know, businesses have assets. Whether it's equipment, whether it's receivables, you can go to a bank and place as collateral the assets of the business and get a business loan or a line of credit. We have someone in our network that they have a business and then they placed the assets of the business as collateral and they got a loan and then they bought the real estate from which the business was operating. So they used their business to buy real estate. Now they have a business and real estate. You could do the same thing. You could do the same thing with a stock portfolio. And this is where it gets really interesting because we just had a very interesting media event. It seems like that was what everybody was talking about, where Elon Musk bought a Twitter. And that's the headline. And that's where everybody stops looking at it. But as we have discussed, you and I are very interested in deal structuring. I'm interested to know how Elon did the deal. There you go. And you're just screen sharing it. It's amazing. And what he essentially did was Elon placed as collateral Tesla shares. So
this bucket right here.
Exactly. So Elon took the Tesla shares, placed it as collateral, and then got a loan secured by his Tesla shares. And then he used that to buy Twitter. Now, there's a lot of things at play here. Why would he do that? Well, the first thing is, if he sells his Tesla shares, he pays taxes on those.
Right.
So he essentially got a tax-free loan.
Right. Yeah,
and
tax-free
was able to
capital.
access
Yeah.
that tax-free. So he essentially then doesn't pay taxes on it, and his money is working in two places simultaneously, and he's got the asset-based loan from all of these institutions that are fighting over each other just to give him the money.
For
That's a
the
nice position to be in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, if you had to pay taxes on that 44 billion all of a sudden turns into, depending on the taxes, 55, 60 billion that essentially would have cost them. That's a huge opportunity cost.
Yeah,
Huge.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because he's looking like he has put up 50% of pretty much the down payment, 50, 45, 50% over there. And then he got a loan. Essentially, when you're thinking about real estate, is kind of like the senior loan or whatnot, about $13 billion from there. And then about $13 billion from this cross collateralization that he had on his Tesla company as a line of credit business or some sort of a loan against the Tesla. It can be a line of credit or it can be just a loan collateralization loan. We don't know the details over there, but that's a very interesting chart. Like I know, like this morning when I saw it, I was like, oh, gotta take a screenshot of that.